Okay, so there are two different ways that you can send data from your front end to your back end. In the last video, we worked out how to accept that data on the server side using a API route called post, so API/post, and using the form data to create a post in the backend, which then returns a response of that post. There are two ways that you can send this data from your front end to your back end. The first is a form. So in this example, I've already got a form set up on the posts handlebars template. So I'll just detail what this form actually does. The form starts here and ends down here. It's only visible if you are logged in. The method is post because it's a post request, and the action is the route that the form is being sent to. Inside of the form, there are two input fields. One has a name of title, and the other has a name of content. So those two fields we can actually use to create the data on the server side. As a demonstration, let me start the server and we'll see what that looks like. So we go to localhost 3000/posts. Now, at the moment, I'm not logged in, so that form isn't going to show up. So first of all, let's go to the login page, which will redirect back to the home page. And now if I visit the posts page again, the form should show up. Cool. So this is our form. It doesn't look very pretty, but that doesn't matter. When we send some data here, example2, example content 2, when we submit this data, it's actually going to send it off to the server. And then it shows us the data that actually came back. Now, depending on how you set up your application, you will probably want to, instead of returning some data, you would actually want to redirect back to the posts page again. So to show you what that would look like, inside of the API route, instead of doing this line here, we can comment that out, and we can just do result.redirect and then send it back to the posts URL. What that will do is, instead of actually returning some data and sending us to a useless URL for a front-end application, it will actually redirect back to the posts page. So we'll end up with being bounced back to here. Now I'll show you it again. I will stop the server first, start it again, and now when I post something, example 3, test content 3, now when I submit that, it should redirect back to the posts page. There we go. Got 3 separate links. What happened here when it's not logged in? When you restart the server, it does log you out. So I'll have to log back in to get that form to show up again. And then visit the posts page. There's our 3 example posts and our form again. The second way of submitting data to the server is using jQuery on the front end. We can do that a number of ways, but to demonstrate it, what I'm going to do is add a button to this posts page. I'm going to give it a class of example submit. And I'm going to give it a title in here called create example post. So in one of the last videos, we created this scripts.js file, which gets called on the front end. So we can use that file to attach a click handler to that button that we just created and then when that button is clicked, send some data through to the server. First of all, select that button. What did I call it? I called it example submit. So example-submit, click that function. This function is going to get executed every time that button is clicked. And inside of here, we can call the post method. Now this post method is built into jQuery and it takes 3 arguments. The first one is the URL that it's going to go to, and in our case that's API/post. The second argument is the data that you want to send through to the server. So we know that that data needs a title, example content from the button, and the second one is content, some example content. Lastly, it takes a callback function, and this function is going to get executed when that request has completed. So it will take a data argument, and that data is the response that actually comes back from the server. So what I can do, just to demonstrate, is we're going to log that response to the console of the browser. That's different from logging it to the console in here because it happens on the client side. So all that we're going to do here is log the data. I've got my button, example submit. I've got my click handler attached to that, and then I've got my post submitting and then logging the return data through to the console. Let's go back to the browser, and now we refresh this page. You'll see that the button is now appearing on the page. I'm going to open up the console. And as you can see, it's already logging that success message, which is in the script right here, console.log success. So we know that the script is running. And now when I click this button, it's going to send some data through to the server and return it to the console. We can see here title, example content from the button, content, some example content, and it's also got these updated at and created at properties so that we know that this is actually data that exists in the database now. We can refresh this page and we should see that post appear. Yep, there it is. But normally what you would do is instead of logging it to the console, you would use that data that comes back from the server to update your UI, either by updating some DOM elements or changing some text. But that should give you a good example on how to send data through to the server. You can do it using the form, or you can do it using the jQuery post method.